podcast where we interview people who make a powerful impact on the culture, music, and the community as a whole. I'm SP. Today we have Neb with us, and just remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on social media. But when we get down to business tonight, we have Lize. She's so special. I always tell her that there is so much. She is just special. I just have so much faith in who she is as a artist and a human being that I root for you even when you don't know I'm rooting for you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you've been rocking with me for a minute.
So we just got to start off with where are you from and how does that affect you as a visual artist and as a musical artist?
Well, it's funny. I was born in Hampton, Virginia, and I moved up to Maryland. I'm from technically Aberdeen, Maryland. I've been here since I was like 8 years old. So I've been in Maryland a long time. I'm about 25, 30 minutes north of Baltimore. I have access to like every major city on the East Coast from DC to New York City. So, just hearing the different sounds out here have definitely like impacted like especially like the urban scene and hip hop, and hearing how hip hop sounds in each region kind of all influenced me and inspired me to just take it back further just to see like the foundation of how it all started. Not even just hip hop, but soul music, R&B, doo-wop, all of that. So jazz, reggae, whatever.
So what has been the differences in the regions that you've been able to glean from being so prominent in a space that you have access to so much culture?
Everybody's like style and swagger is a little different. Like in New York City, it's just like like with the raw, hard hitting boom bap. Jersey kind of the same thing, but they still got their own twist on it. I can't really explain it in words now that I'm saying it. But like even in DC, like they got go-go out there, and you hear how that influences like the style of the drums and the way they rap, the cadences, and all of that. It all varies. So, Baltimore, they all it's like all in the slang, the accent, the tone. They all like they're similar because hip, the Bronx, that's the mecca of hip hop or whatever. But it's like as it went out, everybody put their own spin on it. Just like even the West Coast or the South, Midwest. I mean, you can hear like the little nuances through each one. Like even though we're all East Coast, like you go down the line and saw something a little different. Not to mention a lot of the artists were collaborating with each other. Philly collaborating with people in New York City, DC, Baltimore. All of them are like, melting in together. So you was getting a little bit of everything from everywhere.
So as a musical artist, do you lean more towards a specific area, or have you been able to combine the different styles and make them your own?
I think initially I kind of clung to the strictly East Coast, like that 90s sound, the boom bap, hard hit and stuff. It wasn't until I started collaborating with more people and linking up with different producers that I really started to expand my sound a little bit, because it opened my mind to so much. Like especially lately, I've been working with YU from Diamond District.
Yes.
And, I feel like with him, like he's been pivotal in how I've been rhyming now. Just listening to him, and then also like the beats I've been getting from him. It's like they forced me to rhyme different. It's just like you can't rap the same way. Like it's not the same like four measures all
Mm-hmm.
the time. Like it's like you got to switch it up. Like how are you gonna finesse this? Because you know you used to this regular 8 count, and now it's just like it's a whole new thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like each beat is different. Like you're not gonna get the same result each time, and if you do, then you're not doing something right because he definitely challenges me to you know expand and broaden my horizons in that way, whether he knows it or not. But it's just like, wow, I've never rapped on or even thought about rapping on a beat like that, but I'm gonna give it a shot. And then, you know, it's been transcended from there. And then a friend of mine, also Yanni K, who raps, she's so
Mm-hmm.
smooth and she's got this great flow and cadence. And her rhymes are like simplistic but very powerful and effective. And I've always been the type to overthink what I want to say and how I want to say it. I'm just like, she says it so effortlessly, and I'm like, damn, like it don't always take a whole lot. Like less is more sometimes. So I've been learning that too.
Yeah, I had your song 3 a.m. Me personally, I love the fact that you're complex in some of the things you say, because I'm one of those old heads that like to go back and decipher what you mean.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's always a fun thing to do too.
Yeah, so but when I hear something like dwelling in the middle of the night with the opposite of high, I'm like, what? So low on positive, negatives. Negatives never die, a diminishing soul, but like sentimentals ride. I was like, oh, that is so beautiful.
Thank you.
But the beat was um different, was different from your style. And
Right.
I thought it blended well together. So was that a new producer you were working with the remixes?
The remixes I just dropped today.
Yeah, the 3 a.m.
Oh yeah. So the initial one is funny. The guy who produced the Arrival PC Beats is the same one that produced 3 a.m. The
Mm-hmm.
original one. He's a very versatile producer. So it's just like he can do like the style. His main thing is usually like the style that I rapped over. Well, that's a lot of his clientele is, but if you dig deep in his archives, he's got a lot of versatility. He can do house, he can do R&B, he can do it all really. So it was one of the few beats I had picked out from him at one point. I had been sitting on that beat for a couple of years. It was initially supposed to be a collaboration, but
Mm-hmm.
once I did my verse, it was like, how am I supposed to follow up on that? Like, nah, you finished that, and I was like, okay. It was like, all right, okay.
Yeah, it's so well done, and I wouldn't have, I couldn't even begin to think who could follow up on that. Um, we we know that you're both a visual artist and a musical artist. But which
Mm-hmm.
one do you like more, writing or performing songs? Or painting more? Is there a gratification or satisfaction that you get for both in different ways?
I would say so. Um, it's funny because people ask me about that all the time, and I tell them like pretty much like visual art is the foundation for me. It's something that I've always done and something I always will do. I love it. I love the final product. Every painting is a journey. I think with but I don't have to say a whole lot. Like I can write statements for a piece or whatever. But usually I don't have to do a whole lot of talking. The pieces do the talking for me. And I was
Mm-hmm.
never much of a talker. I mean, even now, I don't be saying a whole lot. I just be chilling. But music has forced me to step out of that comfort zone a bit. I mean, just even now, like, I wasn't really telling a whole lot of people I rapped, and I wasn't doing it very frequently. But like 2019, that's when I started taking it more seriously. So it's a healing thing for me also, because when you don't speak, the things that you need to let out remain. They lie
Mm-hmm.
dormant until you have some sort of trigger, or just something happens that affects you in a way that you can't articulate because you're not used to doing so. So it would take a lot of time to reflect on what I might be feeling or what might be going on, just certain things that I didn't realize I was doing. And I would write it down and
Yeah.
start forming them into songs and stuff. And it's kind of like once I realize I like the final product, I'm just like, okay, yeah, I like this, and we'll go with that. So I think this is like the maturation, like the music, because
Mm-hmm.
it's forcing me to talk and speak up for myself, even if it's just talking to me. But it's just like it's being released, so it's just like I can let it go, because I can hide behind my paintings, but like when it's your voice, it's like there's a vulnerability with that I have not shared before. So there's gratification definitely in different ways. For the I, I think for my art, it's for the people to a degree. Like, it's for me, but it's like for the people. But with the music, it's for
Mm-hmm.
me. So
Yeah. When I listen to your music, I've always felt um, a connection um, with your words, because when you're not able to express yourself and you hear such heartfelt lyrics that come from you, and they're not just heartfelt, they're powerful, and they are demanding to be heard, and that is very hard to capture in a song. um, but
yeah,
you managed to do it and do it well.
thank you. I do what I can when I can. I tell everybody that.
Hip hop is one of the things that helped you find your voice. Your visual art is very expressive, um, but you say hip hop is one of the catalysts that help you find your voice. How completely raw or of your how much of yourself do you actually put into the music?
Um, it's funny. I'm not really sure, because I was talking to a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine. We've been rapping together for like 10 years, over
Mm-hmm.
10 years, and he was talking about that, and he was just like, I feel like we get you like Lize, like we know who that is, but like give us Erica or whatever. And I'm like, I mean, it's not something I've ever really thought about, because I'm like, I'm saying exactly what I want to say, but I guess there's still some sort of a reservation, or resistant with it to some degree. I feel like I think I give exactly what I want to give. So I guess in a sense, I'm probably giving you like half, maybe. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I never really thought about it, but I guess to some degree, like there are still some things that don't necessarily get said, but just
Mm-hmm.
enough for you to get the gist.
Yeah.
Like as long as people can feel it and relate to it, and I'm cool with that. But I guess I need to dig a little deeper.
it's kind of hard to um it's kind of hard to do that. I mean, um
Yeah,
Elize is um a part of you, But
Yeah, definitely.
when you're someone who is as private, really as you are, it's
Hmm.
kind of hard to give them Erica
Yeah, definitely.
because it also takes a chance on giving them so much of yourself that it's a certain amount of vulnerability that comes with giving all of you to something
Yeah,
and
especially
not keeping some stuff for you.
right, exactly. Especially considering the climate we're in today, where everybody shares everything, like literally. We all know just from being on Twitter. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the amount of things people share, the
Yeah,
pictures, the thoughts. It's like there's nothing sacred, like ever anymore. And I'm like, I think about it all the time. I'm just like, even the ones that do blow up and they have a good, clean image, and
mm-hmm.
people want to tarnish it because, I mean, of course, we're all humans. We all got things with us, but it's like, okay, you put that out there to destroy this person's image. Not what, like, it's mind boggling, really. But yeah, I definitely feel like certain things you should have for yourself. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think even the most vulnerable or rawest people definitely have things for themselves.
Of
I
course,
feel like you can't give it all away.
some things you have to preserve. And I've said this to people before because people say you need to tell your story, but I always tell people my story, your story is not always yours alone. Sometimes there are other people attached to your story, and you're telling their story too. So you have to be mindful of that.
Definitely.
Even when you're talking to heal, you still have to be mindful that you're still not the only one in that larger picture, and somebody else's story is getting told with yours.
Yeah.
But how important do you think it is um, for people to be able for people to be able to find their voice, especially Black people, or even more specifically, Black women in this case?
Hmm. I think it's very vital, especially when it comes to survival.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, just it's hard to get out the simplest phrases like "I need help" or you know, even something as simple as like "I need help" or whatever could save somebody's life. Like, go a long way. Everything that gets harbored in, it's just like it's gonna stay there until you let it out. Um, and you all always have that issue. They like when they say closed mouths don't get fed. They're not lying. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it is literally part of your livelihood. You have to talk. You have to speak up. I'm still working on that myself. Like, there's an issue. It needs to be communicated. Let people know you are not to be played with. All of that. Like, it all factors in. It's all about, you know, building connections and setting boundaries. Like, it's it's that simple. Your voice does all of that for you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, nah, I don't like that, or whatever the case is very vital. Like, I think if you want to survive or make it out here or have any sort of community, which is hard to do anyway, you're gonna need to
Mm-hmm.
say something.
Yeah,
It's
I'm one
imperative.
of those people who have a very hard time with asking for help. So that
Me
is
too.
my goal for this year, is just actually asking for help.
And then
Um,
I was just gonna say, even for that, that'll be a that'll be a Um, that'll tell you who actually is down for you too, because you don't ask for help. You in a bind or something. You don't know who gonna hold it down or who's gonna assist you or guide you through whatever. Especially if you're the
Mm-hmm.
one always giving. So when it's time for
Mm-hmm.
you to, okay, you out of
Yeah.
here. Pretty
It's not
much.
easy. It's not easy, especially for someone I'm so used to being um, the person people lean on. I have found that I don't know how to lean. It's been weird trying to understand that you are also human.
Yes.
And but yeah, that's a really good point that you do have to learn how to use your voice. Um, and it takes a lot of vulnerability and a level of braveness to do that fully. And I've watched you evolve, and I've watched even in your comments. Most of the time, you would just ignore some things, but I love the fact that you are um, calling it out. Look, don't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if it's done in a polite way, it's still good to see you do it.
I appreciate that. It takes sometimes I'm just like, do I really want to give this energy? Because I'm like, I feel all right. Like I was cool before this point, so like, let me just. Because sometimes some things don't need any sort of traction or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Sometimes people want that reaction, and it's just like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. So
Yeah, I get what you're saying completely. Um, do you think that sometimes it's necessary for an artist, and especially someone like you who works in so many different mediums, that in order for you to be healthy, and it um, important that you try to keep some sort of safe boundaries with the public, or at least the comment section?
absolutely, yes, yes, most definitely, definitely. Because I do feel like there needs to be some certain level of engagement, but at the end of the day, it's just like that's pretty much all it is. Like acknowledgement. Like it's not like I'm about to give you a tour of my crib and now you can't come through. Like it's just certain things. It's like I don't know what you thought or why you expected this, but that's not how it's going. It's like that's just not what it is. So definitely, I mean, I've even thought about like, yo, I wish like I could turn off DMs sometimes because I'm like just the type of people that be in there. Like some people don't even say anything; they just be sending links or you know,
Yeah,
just kind of it's just very unsolicited and
yeah. I think I had the weirdest DMs on the anybody in Twitter history. So
man, yeah, it's definitely boundaries are necessary. I mean, it's already like being an artist is being vulnerable in itself. So to go past that point, it's like, all right, player, you're a little too close. Need like 50 feet, like over there,
yeah,
like So it's very important. You got to protect yourself, and that comes in with, like I said, using your voice. And everybody's not gonna agree, and they don't have to. But either way, whether you agree or not, you're not gonna be over here. That's all it is.
yeah.
So
I'm so curious. Who's that on your shirt?
me, me, yeah, it's a little rough now. I got hit with bleach in the wash, but it's my t-shirts I made, my logo.
Oh, I
Yeah,
was like, I'm trying to figure out who that is, but I can only see, the top half.
yeah, it's me. It's me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That is dope.
thank you.
Is it available on Bandcamp or your merch or anything where they can get it?
It's on
Or
my
will you?
website, www.elizeofficial.com.
Nice. Go
ELIZE
cop
official.
those.
That's
Hoodies, sweatshirts. We gotta cop those.
yeah,
Get those.
beanies.
Boom. Beanies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got
I love that shirt.
thank you.
So, who are some of your musical influences growing up?
Um, when I was a kid, I was like obsessed with Michael Jackson for a long time. Um, hip hop wise, yeah. Actually, matter of fact, that's Michael Jackson. I was listening to a lot of older stuff. The Temptations, big, big influences. The Jacksons, uh, Marvin Gaye. There was a lot of them I was listening to. I was listening to a lot of Motown at that time, and then
Mm-hmm.
with hip hop, I was into like Criss Cross, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Run DMC, LL Cool J. Those were the most prominent people I was listening to at that time, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever my parents was playing. So I might catch some reggae. My father plays a lot of reggae. Um, a lot of like Jaheim, Genuine, stuff like that at the time, like
Mm-hmm.
early 2000s. Joe, whatever,
Yeah.
was all over the place in a good way. But
Yeah, I think if I never have to see the Temptations movie again, it would be too soon. My nieces and nephews were so into the Temptations and so into Michael Jackson that anything they were on, we were going to be watching that at least 800 times,
yeah, I
which is
became obsessed. I
amazing
was doing the
for
routines, I was singing all the songs, I was doing everything. I was like, and that was the start to the Temptations movie. Once I saw that, I could not get enough. I was on it, on it, on
yeah,
it, on it. And then that's when I started collecting records. I was
yeah,
like,
they killed me with that Temptation movie.
I just found my VHS tape of it. I got
Uh,
a VHS tape of it somewhere. I'm like, yeah,
well, you remind me so much of my nieces and nephews because they're all in their 20s to
yeah.
30s, and so when you said the Temptations, I was like, oh, she was one of those Temptation movie
Yes, I
kids.
was. I was. I definitely was. I definitely was. Heavily.
Those documentaries, those movies and documentaries on VH1 really um, endeared those artists to people in your generation, and I love that so much that you're so young and you were able to just name these people, kind of off the top of your head, which is rare, but it's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I had a. Once I was into it, I was all in, and everybody was kind of pitching in, to help grow that. I was getting like, I got What's Happening all on DVD. I got all the seasons and Good Times. Oh my God, Good Times. TV One shaped a whole lot of stuff for me because that's where I saw all those old 70s films, all the old TV shows. I was on it. Like, loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, when my nieces discovered Cleopatra Jones, it was over. We was in black
Man.
exploitation movies like it was no end. It was like it
Yeah.
was black people on TV back then, like because to them we were
Everywhere.
ancient.
Yes. Uptown Saturday Night. Let's do it again. P City Action. I
Yeah.
got all of that. Got all of it. I have all of it.
What was one of your favorites?
And movies.
Yeah.
Mm. Um, I guess the ones I named, I watch those pretty frequently. And the thing is, I'm the oldest of four, so I was putting my baby sisters on too. Like they was watching this. We probably shouldn't have been watching it with all the nudity and adult content, but we was watching them joints, you know. And they was rocking with me. So yeah, Uptown Saturday Night I watch pretty frequently. And Let's Do It Again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think like off the top what else I was watching. I did watch a lot of Good Times. I watched that faithfully.
Cooley
High.
High.
TV show.
I watched Cooley High one time, and it, you know, what? Once you make me cry, I'm kind of through with you as a movie.
Those are certain movies like I might watch once every blue moon.
Yeah, I'm not just gonna go pick up a Cooley High DVD and just be like, oh man, I gotta watch that. Like, no, once you break my heart, I'm kind of through with you.
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
I've only seen Colors like twice. I'm just not going back to that because that movie was so heartbreaking to me.
Mm-hmm. I definitely feel it. I did watch a lot of Beat Street and Breaking too.
Yeah.
I watched those heavily. I was practicing the moves. I was doing all of that.
Yeah, Janet Jackson almost killed me with Pleasure Principle. Because I'm older than you. So when she came out with Pleasure Principle, it was going to be my goal to be able to step on the chair and make it fall back and then walk off and start dancing.
Hey, man, I can only imagine.
I dislocated everything up from the waist up.
Man, that's funny.
I think that's just spectacular that those movies still resonate, you know, with your generation. I hope they continue to resonate. I know a lot of people feel a certain way about the blaxploitation movies, but for us, it was everything.
So.
Mm-hmm. For us, that was everything. To see Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby and Richard Pryor all in one space, it was, you know, that was everything. Yeah. Shaft, to see a powerful someone fighting crime. Yeah, we didn't have any of that. That was powerful. Cleopatra Jones, you know, those images, even though people think they were exploitive now in this time, but back then, it was rare to see Black people on TV. So when we could see them, it was like a family gathering. Yeah, it was like a family gathering. I was looking at your artwork and your tribute to those films. What inspired you to do that? The ladies of those movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like I said, I was the only kid in like middle school watching this stuff. And, you know, well, nobody trying to hear all that, you know. But I see all the love and stuff people be getting nowadays, and I think it's amazing, especially like with these newer Black actresses and things. And I was just looking at all these ladies, and I'm like, dang, nobody really talks about them or says anything. And I don't ever see anybody like making paintings, you know, for them. So I was like, let me go ahead and, you know, show some love. Like that's the series I've been working on lately, like just looking up different actresses, and then while I'm painting, I might watch the movie or listen to it in the background and stuff like that, just to get a feel, because I'm like, don't nobody know who these people are, and if they do, they don't really talk about it. So this is my way of bringing that to the forefront so you can see how everything transcended.
So who are some of the artists that are in your series that people can actually go they can actually purchase?
Well, I got a few in this upcoming exhibition I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I sold Diane Carroll. I had Diane Carroll. I sold that
Yeah,
one.
she was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
And to watch
Yeah.
the process, your process, and you the finished product, it was so wonderful to watch that. I'm glad that you're doing that because it's so inspirational, especially to people who want to do what you do but aren't quite sure how to get it done.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. That was she was the first one. I was listening to I think this was around the time actually Cicely Tyson had passed away, and I had bought her book and I read it, and of course she name dropped some folks, and Diane Carroll was one of them, and then I listened to the audio form of Diane Carroll's book, and then I was just like, it just kind of set it off there. I'm like, yeah, I want to paint her, and then I was just like, shoot, let me do a series. So it started from there. Then I did Vanetta Mcgee next. Then I did Nichelle Nichols. I've done Pam Grier, and I've done Rosalind Cash. Currently,
can you tell people about Vanetta Mcgee, because not many people know who she is?
yeah, actually, I think it's her birthday too. I think I seen somebody post that like it's her birthday. Vanetta
That's
Mcgee.
dope.
Yeah, Vanetta Mcgee was an actress from the 70s. She starred in a lot of films. She was in Blackula. She was in Melinda. She was in Thomasine and Bushrod, and many other films I can't think off the top of my head. She starred in Thomasine and Bushrod with Max Julian. Rest in peace. He just passed away. They actually dated for a few years, and during that time period that they were dating, they made that movie. I think it was like, can't remember what year. I don't know if it was like 76, 77. I could be off. But she passed away in 2010. But definitely one of the most prominent figures during that time period, for sure.
Yeah.
She had a very distinct look about her.
Yeah, I've always thought that she was beautiful, and because I was also of a certain skin tone, it was always wonderful to see such powerful women in those movies.
Yeah. Definitely. And just to see them with such grace and poise and beauty, like representation.
And you said Pam Grier and who else?
Rosalind Cash.
Ooh. Can you tell people about, I know people know exactly who Pam Grier is. I mean, if you don't know who Pam Grier is, I'm going to have to run you over with my car.
Oh, no.
Unfollow.
Oh, man. Not the car. Oh, wow. Rosalind Cash. She was another actress. She was in Melinda, too, actually. And she did, I can't see, that's slipping, too. I think she was at Uptown Saturday Night, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, though. She was in
I think she was in Uptown Saturday Night.
She was, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And those are the two, like, back then I can think of. But I know she was also in Tales of the Hood for people who might know her later when she had her locks. She was in Tales from the Hood. I think that was her last, like, her final role before she passed away in 95.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Very prominent figure also.
You did a wonderful mural. The Say Her Name mural. Can you talk a little bit about that and where it's located? Because I think everyone needs to see that mural. That mural was beautiful.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So the summer of 2020, probably like at the peak of our pandemic, I was called upon to do a mural in Wilmington, Delaware, because I think they had some riots after the George Floyd incident, and a lot of people's establishments got destroyed because of the
Mm-hmm.
protest, and they had boarded up windows, and they were like, we're not some boarded up city, there's actually a lot of beauty and style here, so we're wondering if you would paint something. I was just like, yeah, definitely. And it took a little while before they got back to me, I guess, to get the funding straight, but I had a lot of time to think about what I wanted to do, and considering the climate at the time and where a lot of attention was being drawn to, I was just like, well, it's never like about what about me type thing, but it's just like, hey, let's bring this to light also. So I thought about Oluwatoyin. Yeah, I had heard about her story. She had briefly spoke on Twitter about how she was in danger and needed help, and like some days later, she was found dead. This other woman, and she had expressed how she had been sexually assaulted also prior to that. And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't really being discussed much. Like I saw about it here and there, but everybody's attention span where everything's running a mile a minute. So, and they were talking about Breonna Taylor, but not in the way that should have been, I guess, highlighted. It became very performative, and
Mm-hmm.
for entertainment purposes, it got really ugly. But I chose Oluwatoyin, and I was just like, let's, give her some light. And so I went out there, I painted the mural, and I had noticed, because somebody had one on the other side of the building, like right next to mine. It's like two boards, and he had painted the inside of the wall too. So I was just like, "Oh, we supposed to do both of these?" And they were like, "Yeah, you got that other wall too." So I was like, "Okay." So I was like, I did her portrait. I'm like, so what should I do with this wall? And then I was just like, well, there are plenty of other Black women and girls who have met an untimely demise that nobody knows, probably won't ever really know. So I did a lot of Google research and wrote down every name I saw until the board was filled with all the other names that I could not portray in the piece itself. So I think I lost count after a while, but I think it's over 400 names on that wall, if I'm not mistaken. And it was just really to not only really create a memorial piece, but just look at her as who we are as Black women, which is, I feel, is royalty,
Mm-hmm.
goddesses and things of that nature. So I didn't want it to be sad. I didn't want it to be like, it was already a dark period at that time. I wanted to brighten it up a bit.
It's by no means sad, but it is very powerful. And I thought when I saw it, um, I definitely wanted you to highlight that in this interview, because anybody who's in Delaware, you need to make your way over there and actually see it, because it is so powerful and so beautiful and so well done that it deserves all the light in the world.
Thank you. Well, I will say this. It actually, what part of Texas? You're in San Antonio?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you're ways away, but I forgot to mention, currently it is an exhibition in Longview, Texas from
Cool.
January to March. And yeah, they they just got sent out there. They just been recently installed. So they'll be on display starting tomorrow through March 5th. So I don't know how far you are from Longview, but if you definitely want to make the trip, they are out there at the Longview Museum of Fine Arts.
And I'm writing it down because it's going to be worth the trip. And I'm definitely going to go and see it and record it and put it up so other people can be drawn to it, because it's an amazing piece of art.
Thank you. Yeah. I think it's near Fort Worth, I think. I don't know how far you are from Fort Worth, but somewhere near there.
Well, actually, it's closer to me than you think, because I just moved to Dallas.
Oh, did you?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, oh dang, you right there. You good to go. You by the airport? Yeah, I think it's by the airport if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how far from the airport, but either way.
And Ned wanted to ask you a question.
Yes. Just from hearing it. Oh wait, yeah, I'm the one that has the sound problem. Shoot, I just remember that. Can you hear me? Damn.
Yeah.
I just remember that. Before you were saying that it's hard to get right, talking about voices. It's hard to get your voice out sometimes lyrically,
Mm-hmm.
or you're holding back. Do you feel that through the paintings you really get the full expression of yourself and like activism in the paintings and putting a lot of yourself into your paintings? Do you feel that you get more of your voice out that way than in songs?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um,
I think he's asking more so, is Erica more in your paintings and Lize is more in your music?
She gave a remix to my question, but all right, we could go with that.
I mean, I get the gist. That's a good question. I don't think so. I think it's about the same. Um, I'm very meticulous about what I do and how I do it. So it's like when I work on stuff, like even when I did a little toy, and like I usually just get down a base coat, and then it's just like, all right, then I can go on with the details. I remember this lady was passing on the street. I saw the day before. She was like, "Oh, I see you finished." I'm like, "No, I'm not. Like, it's not done." So I'm very particular in that way. Like, no, it's got to be a certain way. Um, so I think there's still some sort of like I don't want to say rigid. I feel like that's too harsh of a term, but it's still some structure there. Like it's structured in a way where I feel comfortable with letting it out. So I guess it's roughly the same, because I guess when you're just letting it all out, you don't really care about how it got put out there. It's just like, look, I need you to see this, hear this, and feel this. So I'm very I do everything with intention. So it's like I don't know how to just let something run free without it. Like, hold up, man, I'm not wait. Like if you see it, it's because I wanted you to. Like I felt comfortable enough for you to see it. So I guess in a sense, it's roughly the same. You're getting about the same thing.
50%.
Yeah, it might be a little more than that. But
No, I think it's more than that. But okay, I'll just joking.
yeah, I think it's more than that. I was just saying it because it's just like obviously you keep some stuff yourself, but yeah, I would say it's roughly the same.
But it seems to me, just from this conversation alone and seeing the artwork, it seems to me that you probably do get out a lot more through that medium of yourself, and you do get a lot more of your voice out because you're more comfortable in that. Eventually, I
Right.
think it will evolve into the music as well. The more you do that, it's like anything else. But I think the painting, because it's probably where you said that was your foundation where you started, that's probably
Mm-hmm.
why you're so comfortable with it, because there's more hours in it, and it's the medium you know,
Yeah.
and less criticism as far as music in real time and the way we are now. Geez, we're
Yeah,
quicker
it's
to be
very
we critics and
Yeah,
critique
and
it
everybody's got something to
before.
say about how you did
Yeah,
it.
before
Yeah,
enjoying it
yeah.
and just taking it in. It's like everybody's a professional now,
Yeah.
music critic. But before that wasn't the case. Now everybody's a music critic. But painting doesn't quite have that. I don't think that level of what's the word, judgment on it like music does in real time. Anyway, that was it.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, when you're creating, is your process kind of the same for art as it is for music? Um, are you influenced by certain things when you get ready to do your art? Um, is it the beat first before you get to the music, or is it the lyrics and then you find the beat that works with your lyrics? What's your process?
And
Um,
same for painting too.
um, music. I'll say musically, it all varies. I'll say sometimes, like usually it's the beat that captures me. Like once I figure out a mood or what I feel when I hear it, then I'll go from there. Like even sometimes I might figure out a title first before I start writing the song.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like yeah, I want to call it this, and then I'll go with that. Sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I just got to get to it, and I'll just start writing stuff. But even that process can be chaotic because sometimes like I might write a couple lines, and then I think about where I wanted to hit, and like that particular stanza or whatever. And I'm like, I want these to be the last two bars, so I might leave a space in between and keep going, and go
Mm-hmm.
fill it in later with something that I'm like, okay, I like that, and I just throw it in there. So it's very like it's like a puzzle sometimes. Um, with that, so it's very all over the place. Once I'm like drawing a blank, then I leave it be because I don't want to force it, um, and then come back to it later. Artistically, I'll have an idea. I try to find the picture that I find is most profound to me, and then I'll lay it out. Once I lay it out, I'm like, okay, that's when I kind of decide the colors I want to use. Sometimes I know beforehand, but other times I'm like, let me just throw this on there and see. I'm trying to be a little bit more loose with it. Like, let me just throw some up here and see if I don't, I'll just change it versus overthinking it and then not doing anything. You think so much like, no, it's got to be like this. I don't want to mess it up, and then you end up not doing anything because you spent so much time trying to figure out something you might not even stick with anyway. So I've been letting go a little bit in that process.
Mm-hmm. So,
Very
mm-hmm.
chaotically structured, I guess.
Yeah, I love the way your mind works. It works a lot like mine. I
Mm-hmm.
start and I normally start something and end it, and then fill
Mm-hmm.
in the middle later.
Yeah.
I'm not good at step one, step two, step three. I'm like step one. Let's try step 12. Maybe it'll fit with step 5.
Right. Because even sometimes I might write a second verse before I write the first one. Like on rare occasions,
Mhm.
like sometimes that'll come before anything else, and I'm like I might read. I'm like, okay, that's the second one. I don't want that for the first verse.
So we did an interview with Uptown XO from Diamond District,
Mm-hmm.
and you were talking about working with YU. How did that collaboration come about? How did you meet? And what is it like working with YU?
Um, I met him actually on Instagram. Like
Oh wow!
it was I don't even honestly I don't even remember how we ended up following each other or got acquainted, but I just remember following him on there and vice versa. And it was funny because for a long time, like I knew he did the music and I liked it, but I didn't really know who he was until much later once we start really connecting. So there's another producer, my homie Discipline 99. We had linked up one time when we was talking, and I was telling him about I had brought him up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, he a DC legend, yo. Like, you know, we linked up one time or whatever. Yeah, y'all should link up, blah blah blah." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I reached out one time, and we linked up. I think this was 2019, and listening to tracks and stuff. He gave me a few beats, and that was that. And then I remember I went back home and like started listening to his stuff, and I was like, wait, like I didn't realize who I had been talking to, so I was just like, damn, I need to get my stuff together, like you know, I didn't realize whose presence I was in, and I was just like,
a professional
oh God, like,
MC,
huh?
a professional MC,
Yeah,
for real.
man,
He's my
beyond.
favorite
So
member
it
of
was just,
Diamond District.
yeah. So I was like, how you come in there all like ignorant? You know what I'm saying? I mean, he didn't think nothing of it. It was just kind of like, he's a real laid back, humble cat, you know?
That probably made the relationship work better though, because you didn't know who he was and you got to know who he really was, and vice versa. And then later on, it's like that's happened to me before with certain people. DJ Wiz, I didn't know who DJ Wiz was from Kid and Play until like months later, like a year later, and I was like, "Wait, you're who?" I said, "I saw you," because he was wearing an Unsung T-shirt, and I was like, "Get out of here!" So I already knew who he was as a person, but then when I was like, "Wait, you're him?" Get out of it. It was amazing, but it was good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good like that when you don't know who you're talking to.
Go ahead. Oh, okay.
So I was just gonna say sometimes it's good when you don't know who you're talking to as far as the persona, and you get to know them as the person, and then later on it's like, oh shoot, okay, now there's another layer to this. Now I know, you know, I think that's the best relationships, you know.
Yeah, but he ain't come off like, you know, he's never been that type to be like, you know, you don't know who I am or nothing like that. You know, he be focused. He real cool, and like, he's a man of few words, but when he speaks, it's just like, you know, it's profound. So it's like, you know, that was the thing. And it was very like off and on, mainly on my end, because I was all over the place trying to figure out how to go about doing what it is I said I wanted to do. So, but 2020, that's when we really started like putting stuff together. So we've recorded a few tracks, and then, you know, schedules got busy and stuff. But I think sometime this year the project will surface, full project. So
you heard it here first on Powaful Impak. Boom.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking for it. I'm always interested in what you have to say as a musical artist. You always take me somewhere that I haven't been before, and it's beautiful to see, because I don't know if you realize when you're writing stuff how much real truth that you are putting in your music, and how much it resonates, especially with women, because we've all had in this, do I do this or do I do that? Do I move this way? Do I move that way? And it seems like you work a lot of those questions out in your music.
Yeah, I mean, well, first, I'm humbled by the fact that you said I take you places you ain't never been, and that's like, wow, you know, because you're older than me, and you know, you've been there and seen a lot more than I have. So I'm just like, wow, you know, that's heavy. So I'm glad I could do that for you, and
no pressure.
Yeah, yeah. It's there's definitely a lot of like you said, like how to go about it. I feel like, especially as a woman in hip hop, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people look to dictate what you say and how you say it. Because I've definitely heard, different things. Like when I put out the arrival and I did the promotional post, and just off the promotional post, he was like, "Well, that's so aggressive. All I hear is niggas, niggas, niggas," and I'm like, it was like, huh? Like I was like, all right, whatever. Like that's all you heard. That's all you heard. I can't control what you choose and choose not to hear. I've heard, oh, you sound like a man. I've heard a whole bunch of stuff. Like,
But the arrival needed that.
yeah,
The arrival needed that aggression.
that was the whole point.
Yeah.
Like people, because people I've had my sisters, they bought my music and stuff. My sister was like, "What's the rival about?" I was like, "It's not about anything. It was just to showcase that I got bars and I can bar with the rest of them. Like that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the point. I did it the way it needed to be done. I got the energy, and I think I'm gonna always have it because, like I said, I don't talk a lot, so everything is kind of pent up. So when it come out, it's like, look, I'm not playing with you. So like it's. I feel like it gets dictated, or the way you say stuff, it gets judged a bit more harshly because of what's expected of a woman, or whatever the case may be. Like if a dude spit that same song, they would probably be
Mm-hmm.
like, that's the hardest joint out here. Like I've heard I've heard other rappers rhyme nigga with nigga through the whole song and nobody said nothing. You know what I'm saying? But it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, it is what it is. Like I'm not tripping about it. These are just things I've observed and been told. So it's just like, it's not for you. It's not for you. Like I'm not here to change your mind. Like you ain't
Yeah,
gotta
I think
listen to it.
I've been in a few of those posts that shut the fuck up. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
You
it's
did what
just,
you were supposed to do on that song. What are you talking about?
yeah. Yeah. The whole I got
I got
washed,
enough
whatever.
aggression
Like,
for both of us. You don't have to say anything.
yeah, yeah. Pretty much. Or she got washed, or I ain't trying to hear that. Blah, blah, blah. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, because
You
you
listen
killed
though. That's
that
all I care
song.
about. You listen, you ain't like it, that's cool. That's all I ask. Whatever.
Yeah, you killed that song.
Thank you.
I was like, you wouldn't be offended by it if she didn't have a few truths that hit close to home.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when you're doing an art piece or when you're doing music, how do you, because you're such a perfectionist, how do you know when it's complete?
Uh but like once I've covered every single base, usually, or sometimes I'll just tell myself, all right, that's it. Don't do nothing else. Don't touch it no more. That's it. You be like, oh, like, like, nope, it's done. Especially if I got a deadline or something too. That's when I'm like, all right, I can call this finished. I can be satisfied with it. Like
Mm-hmm.
as long as I feel like I've done everything I could to it, then I'm like, all right. I'm learning to let go a little more with that because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I would never turn in a piece if I, you know, keep doing this. There's even been songs I've done that I always said I was gonna go back and tailor it again. I end up laying it anyway. And actually liked it. And I'm just like, seeing you was gonna do for what? You know what I'm saying? I was just like, them pep talks to yourself. See, you was gonna do that for what? And then it's like, I don't know, but it's hard. So, you know, keep it moving. It's just kind of an innate feeling I have, especially like if I
Uh-huh.
write it. If I spit it, I'm like, yeah, damn, I'm cool on it. Every now and again, I might change a word or something, or if I want to say it, to change the cadence of one bar or something, I might, you know. just switch a word out or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stuff like that, just so it flow better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who's some of your favorite collaborations so far, and who's your dream collaboration MC with an MC, and then with the producer?
My favorite collaboration so far has been with Chris. The one with Chris was great. It was amazing. Just not only just the song, but shooting the video. That whole day was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Just going to every borough in New York City and then getting to rep with him in his borough. You know,
Mm-hmm.
pay respects to his pops all at the same time. It was a surreal experience because I didn't know how I was gonna pull it off or whether it was gonna happen or not.
That's
And
Chris Rivers, everybody. Big Pun Jr.
So what I love about your collaboration with Chris Rivers, that's how I introduced you to the guys from No Knockoffs. I played Chris Rivers' verse, and they was like, "Oh, that's dope." I said, "Yeah, but listen to this verse," and they were like, "Who is that?"
wow, that's funny, yo, that's crazy. I never would have known. Wow.
The setup.
Yeah, because
it was like, look.
Yeah, let me slide this in here, and let me show you, what she can do. She's new, but she's on par. You can't you couldn't take anything away from you on that song. He didn't outshine you, and even though he's well known and his abilities are phenomenal, yours are too. And I wanted to highlight that so that they would see who was coming in and why it was important that you were there.
Yes. I dig that. Thank you. I dig that. But yeah, that was a very frigid day also. But well worth the frozen fingers and toes and all that. That was a good day. Um, that was fun. I just recently did this collaboration. It's like the 7-minute posse cut with my homegirl and like 6 other MCs. That was, it was different just having that many people on a song, and it didn't feel, contrived or too long or anything. Like, I listen to it now and it feels good. Like, it was one of those things that wasn't really forced. It kind of just flowed naturally. And then also the collaborations I did, like the pieces remixes I did with the producers, Negro Saki, Greg S. Fuego, and Yaquan. That was dope. They actually reached out and was just like, "Yo, can we, remix these joints?" I was like, "Yeah, go ahead." Like, I had never really considered doing remixes to any of my stuff. Like, I had no thoughts about it. It was just like, once I did it, that was that. But they kind of revitalized it and gave it a push again. So I was like, I appreciate that. And then it kind of opened my eyes up to and ears to different sounds and stuff. Like I said, like YU was opening my ears up to different things, and so were they, because the way they create is, no pressure and a lot of fun. They just do it. Like, ain't too much thought being put into it or too much concern about who likes what. Like, as long as they liked it, that was all that mattered. And that's kind of how they approach everything they do. Like, they like it. It was all fun.
Well, they did that with those remixes. I love the remixes. I love the originals, but the remixes just sound like a whole new song. It was so fresh, and I really love the remixes.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I said. It was like fresh new sound. It don't even sound like the original one. And it was just it was just very organic because I got to build with them also in the process. They was making them in real time. It was a dope experience. And then
Mm-hmm.
so I would say those for sure. I would say probably the top three. As far as dream dream collaborations with MCs, Styles P and Jean Grey. Um, Producer wise, it would be dope to rock a Pete Rock joint or Primo.
You got to
Yeah.
say it louder. Lize. I don't think they can
Put
hear
it
you.
in the universe.
You got to say it a little louder so they can hear you. Pete Rock, DJ Premier. You heard it here first on Powerful Impact. She
It would be
needs
dope.
remixes or original joints. Let's
And
make it
Knots.
happen.
Knots too.
Yeah.
VA, Bink too. Bink is a beast too, but yeah, it's not.
Two up, two down.
There you go. There you go. So who are some of the current female artists that you're listening to right now?
Outside of myself, Yanni K, Cheyenne G, B.I.R.E. There's plenty. Shay Noor, Brittany Carter. There's so many of them. I be losing count and losing track. China Streets, of course. China Streets.
What inspires you about them?
The individuality. They not trying to be nothing or do anything that's not them. They spit from their soul, and they all different. Like, you're gonna get something different from each one of them. And it's just like, it's that, like, nothing feels forced or off. Like, you know what I mean? So,
I love that. You know, I'm always on the hunt for female MCs because I
know
feel
there's
like
more that I'm just not, I can't think of off the top right now, but those are the ones that I've been keeping up with.
So with the posse cut, were they majority female MCs or was it a mixture?
It was 3 females and 4 males. I'm sorry, Deja Man. She's also on that track. Deja's fire. Deja Man.
Do you know where she's from?
She's from Cali, but she's based in Atlanta right now.
Wow, dope. I was
Cool.
gonna ask, do you think that women MCs, do you feel that women or female MCs are in a good place right now in hip hop? Like, do you feel they're given enough lane, enough runway?
I think it's definitely getting there. I feel like every MC I just named for you, like, are thriving. Like, really getting their just due and doing that thing.
On their
shows,
terms.
They got the merch. They really working out here. I'm hearing about the collaborations. They dropping project after project. They putting in work. Like, I think, and other people recognize that. I think it's definitely in a good place, and I think it's only going to get better, personally.
What was the first song that you heard that well, first, what made you fall in love with hip hop?
I think it was the energy, the rawness. Like, I think when I was younger, when I was naming the people like Criss Cross and DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, they were
Mm-hmm.
doing that thing. But it wasn't like till high school when I started getting into people like Redman, Big L, you know, really listening to Biggie a lot more, Pac, all of them,
Mm-hmm.
Nas. It's just the essence where these people came from and the imagery, how vivid the stories were. It's like, you know, you hear Elmatic or whatever, and you can envision yourself there. It's like you can smell it, you know, you can just
Mm-hmm.
feel it.
Yeah.
It's like it made you feel like you already know, even if you had no idea. It's like you felt like you knew what was
Yeah.
going on, you know, and it
And you didn't
always
have
took
to
me.
be there.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have to be there because I'm from Texas and I could feel New York in Texas.
Mm-hmm. And that's how I felt, and it was just like I don't know. I would always get this like intense feeling, like I would get goosebumps. I was just like, yo, this is
Mm-hmm.
ill. Like how can you not be moved by, you know, such like despite the tragedies, it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like how could you not feel that? Like it was everywhere. It was all around you. It was just
Yeah. What was the one song, the first song you heard that was like, okay, yeah, this is what I want to do.
hmm. I don't know if I can even say one song in particular because me rapping in general was just kind of like thrown out there. It was just
Well,
like,
what
oh,
do you
you should
think?
rap. And I'm just like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but. And I tried it, and people was liking it. You know, at the time for a 17-year-old, it sounded alright. It was really trash, but at the time, you know, it was like, all right. But I don't know. Like I was listening to a lot of different things. I can't really say one particular song that was just like, yeah, I got to do this or I want to do this. But
What do
I
you think
think
was the
hearing
turning point?
different things kept me wanting to like
Mm-hmm.
continue on. Like once I started listening to more hip hop artists.
Mm-hmm.
Cause you remember I told you I was on my 70s bag, like coming up.
Oh
I
yeah.
ain't really 70s and 80s bag. Like I was listening to 90s stuff, but it was sporadic.
As a woman, as a black woman
Mm-hmm.
in this in the spaces that you occupy, what do you want to be remembered for?
Um, being a catalyst for the culture, just keeping it going, really. And whatever you got from my music, you felt it. You knew you wasn't alone in whatever it is you was dealing with. And with the art, dropping history lessons, just
Mm-hmm.
you know, like enjoy these beautiful people I'm showing you right now. Get a glimpse. You might learn something.
Um, the name of the show is Powerful Impact. What three people has been a powerful impact in your life, either personally or professionally?
My mother.
And why?
She's been supportive of everything I do. Like no matter what it is. Um, the way she takes care of me and my siblings is like no other. Even at,
Mm-hmm.
being my age, just like, mother's love never really stops. And even now, like, she's just very proud of me, which I appreciate. And it's just like anything that I do, she gonna be there, you know. Sometimes we might just be chilling and she'll just bust out a song and she'll just start playing it arrival out of nowhere. And I'm just like, what's going on? I'm just like, what's going on? Yeah, that's a beautiful woman. And, I can't never not shout her out. Like, I owe her everything, you know. She deserves everything. So there are other people. Like, my whole family is pretty supportive of me and my endeavors, but it's nothing like your mother.
Two more.
Yeah.
Two more.
Yeah, I know. I got stuck on my mother.
I think we all do.
Yeah. That's never not stuck on my mother. Powerful impacts. This is sad. I should
Professionally,
have 3
personally, miscellaneous. Just who has had like the
Um,
most impact on your life, influence. No pressure.
I feel like there's a lot of pressure because I am drawing blanks like a mother. Um,
How about musically, in your music career? Who do you think has been the most influential? From a distance or close by?
I think the people that I left behind. There's a couple of people I left behind I was doing music with, but they kind of taught me a lot. Um, but it was like when you hold on to people that really ain't supposed to be there, it's just like once you start giving yourself the same energy you give people that don't really matter,
Mm-hmm.
you you just transform and
Yeah.
transcend. And once I did that and let that go, like I just kind of took off and
Mm-hmm. Just like
Boom.
the old
like I don't
saying
know.
goes.
I don't know if I
Wow.
would be doing music the way I am now if I stuck around that. So I guess in a
Yeah.
way that was impactful for me, just that dynamic and changing that, choosing to change that and get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Letting go.
Yeah, that
Sometimes you have to
was
let go to grow.
exactly. So I always say that moment was pivotal in my career anyway, because that's how y'all got the arrival and
Mm-hmm.
pieces. Because I had I didn't really have too many intentions on taking it this far. Like I don't think like I had people I said I wanted to work with, but it was like, yeah, I just want to make this song and be out. Like I was not
Mm-hmm.
too keen on um doing this like that. But I think that just had a lot to do with my own insecurities and fears and not having that voice. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, now that I'm here, I'm like, can't stop now.
What do you think
Yeah.
pushed you though with that? What do you think pushed you? Because you had the support, you had the incubation, you had the space, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I left that. But then all of a sudden I got motivated more, I got pushed. What do you think that was when you left all of that? What do you think pushed you or propelled you to be here now?
I guess wanting better for self and
Mm-hmm.
looking in the mirror and realizing everything that the energy I was giving into these people. I should have gave to self. When you put people on pedestals and think, highly of others, you don't realize that's you. It's because of you. You doing that. You're giving that energy and that light. But all you can think about is what other people are doing. And once I stopped doing it and realized, like, it was just like, you take a look in the mirror, like, yo, it's you. It's always been you all along. Once you realize that, that's when it's like, yo, it's go time. Like, what we doing? Like, I was doing stuff for me, just not nearly as much as I could have or should have been. But I had to go through that to get here. So
yeah.
So the message is do for self. Sometimes you have to let go and do for self.
Oh.
Bars. Boom. One more person, Lize. This one's miscellaneous. This is miscellaneous. This is where SP's like never be pushing. Miscellaneous. Boom.
I'd probably say Styles P. I just love that dude so much.
It's interesting because I had a question when you said his name and what was the other? Jean Grey. I was like, why? But then we went to another question. So can you elaborate on that? Why? I like Styles P, and I think he definitely evolved as an MC too. I don't want to say got better or this and that. I just think he got deeper
Definitely
and
evolved.
more socially conscious. Now he's making fruit juices. All of this other all over the city. He got New York on lock on the juice thing right now. He killing that.
Yeah, I mean,
just them two. What do you think? Him and her.
Like, well, I'm a huge Locks fan, and
they did him dirty on the verses.
Jadakiss was always, in the forefront, main guy. So I bumped a lot of Jadakiss, but it's just like once I really took the time to sit down and really digest the other two's music, like Styles spoke to me in a different way. It was just like how raw it was. It was like so much vulnerability. It was just like, yeah, I'm hurting, but I'll cut you in the meantime. Like, it was just like the duality of it all. It's just like, you don't see that too often. Like,
the
he's never been scared to say what it is he needed to say. Like, regardless of how it may seem. Like when you say gangster and a gentleman, he's not lying. Like, he really does both. And it's just like, he's grown as a man. He's a grown man now. Like,
what I've always loved, what people don't give Styles P credit for is his consistency. He has consistently been dope from the beginning. I've never heard even a subpar Styles P verse.
Yeah, he gives it all he got every time, and he's mad cool. Like, I met him one time.
Yeah,
very cool. I went to what was it? I went to a Locks concert in Baltimore, and I did a drawing of him and gave it to him backstage. And
oh wow.
Yeah, he was mad humble and appreciative. And he did a little shout out video for me too, like for it. Like,
that's incredibly dope.
Yeah, and it still sticks with me to this day. Like, anytime he got an album out, I'm copping it. Like, I just love everything about what he does and what he stands for. He's just true to self. Like, he's never tried to be anybody else. He does not care. Like, he don't care whether you agree or not or rock with him. Like, he gonna do what he do. He stays out the way and just minds his business. Like, I love that.
And why Jean Grey? Why Jean Grey? Why would you want to work with Jean Grey?
I was bent from the jump off the wordplay content. Like, I was just amazed. Like, whoa, Like who's spit like this? Like amazed by that. She's very like, and she's very direct. Like, you know, I feel like a lot of the times, like, especially like sometimes as women, like we try to say things without coming off too harsh. You know, it's always like you don't want to be like I said earlier about being aggressive and all this other stuff. She don't care. She finna tell you what it is right then and there, the way she want to. You can agree with it or not. Like it's whatever. Her skill set's amazing, very versatile. The range is crazy. I just love that. She's just no nonsense. Like she does what she wants when she wants. Like, and she, you know, she's funny. I like her sense of humor.
Yeah, she's
definitely like not the.
Too.
It's not the norm. Like it's not the average person's sense of humor, like style of humor. Like I was just amazed, you know, by her skill and presence, and I was just like, why don't people talk about her? Why don't more people know who she is? But just being a voice for women, and you know.
Where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself personally and professionally in the next 5 years?
Stable. Stable in my career. Stable in my mind. Consistent.
Like,
hoping for that.
The best answer ever. That's what I'm talking about. I love it. One word.
Yeah.
Boom.
That is the best answer I've gotten to that question yet.
Heck yeah. That's going down in the archives. We cutting this. This is going to be the split.
Success to me is stability. And I said that in that posse cut I did. Success to me is stability.
That is
like the hardest one-word answer I've heard from that question.
Yeah, that is fire.
Boom. I'm waiting for another. I'm like, wait, nah, that's enough. That's more than enough. I'm full with that.
It's the truth. I'm just like, yo, that's all that really matters. Like, I mean, you know, anything
speak
else.
On it. Tell them. Speak on it. It's a good.
No, I'm just saying,
keep
like,
going.
anything else is a bonus. Like, you know, whether I make millions or not, like, am I stable? Can I sustain with all of this? You know,
shout out to
that's
Kanye.
all I care about. If I can keep that, I'm Gucci. That's it.
It's true. You want to be famous. You don't even want to be famous, but you definitely don't want to be infamous. You definitely don't want to be out here looking crazy out in the streets, knocking people out. Allegedly.
Hey, I ain't got nothing.
If you didn't do if you weren't doing painting or MC, what do you think you'd be doing? What are some of your hobbies outside of your work?
Or even another career.
Well, I don't know. Maybe a historian of some sort. I never really considered that, but I do like watching a lot of documentaries and stuff.
Dr.
I thought about making one at one point. I always said I wanted to do voice acting. We'll see if that comes up. I think that'd be dope. But, yeah. But currently, I don't like. This is all I do, so I'm like, I don't even know, you know. But yeah, that would probably be that'd probably be something I'd consider.
So, tell the people what you're working on, what you have coming out, and how to get in touch with you if they want to collab or get some of your art pieces, or even ask you if you do art pieces privately.
Okay,
commission work.
Well, first of all, you can check out my website, www.elizeofficial.com. I got merch, I got CDs, t-shirts, beanies, hoodies, all of that, art prints. Currently working on EP with YU. I got a project with Cheyenne G coming. Been working on more paintings in my series that I was previously mentioned. I'm on Instagram at e.lizeofficial and e.lizeart, just for strictly the art. e.lizeofficial _ on Twitter, Elize on Facebook, Elize on YouTube, on all digital streaming platforms. I'm on Bandcamp. Email elizemusicofficial.com, elizeartofficial.com. Take your pick, whatever you trying to do, and we'll go from there.
There you go. I want to thank you so much for doing this. You know, I have artists that I support, and then I have artists that move me totally different. And you have always been one of those. I always tell you, there is something about you that is so special and so beautiful and so honorable that you take me to a different space. So I really appreciate you sharing that with our audience and sharing your art with the world, because it is something spectacular that needs to be highlighted.
I feel like a broken record, but thank you. Much appreciated. I thank y'all for having me on here. This is a dope conversation. It gave me a lot of stuff to think about also, that, you don't really say until asked. And once you say it out loud, it's like, some of these answers, once I said it, I was like, wow, I didn't even really realize I felt like that, or, thought about it like that. So.
They say in therapy, half of therapy is hearing yourself speak. So you heard yourself speak. Boom.
Yeah. I don't do this much talking. So this was therapeutic. I appreciate it truly.
Yeah, I know you're a musician, and a lot of people, we touch on the music, but I think it's so much more important that people get to know you and who you are, and seeing you what I've always saw you. And I think you did that spectacularly. Do you have anybody you want to shout out?
Shout out to my mother, my father, my siblings, my grannies, the whole squad. Yanni K, BRE, Analog Lady, what's up? Cheyenne G. I don't know if I said her already. See, my mind going.
Shout out to Analog Lady. Oh my God, she's another.
She's a gem, yo.
Man. Oh, it's so wonderful following her. She's such a beautiful person.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out to her. Nev, you have another question before we go?
Yes, this is my last question. Personal request, Elize, and I have to ask it on camera. You cannot promise me anything. I know this. Nobody knows the future, but I'm asking one request. Closed hands prayers. If you do release that project with YU this year, before the ball drops in New York, would you please try your best with you and him to come on this show YU is one of my favorite MCs of all time. No promises, but just try.
I'll rap with him about it.
Thank you. That is my one request. Because 2 years ago, before the pandemic, I'd be in my office eating my lunch, bumping his Before Taxes and his the Yearn. Yeah, the Earn. Listen, man, and yeah, thanks. And Diamond Districts, March on. There is no way 2 years later. First of all, I was never doing any podcasts or anything. There's no way that I thought that this would even be possible to be able to sit down and chop it up with him. So the fact that I'm this close in proximity, I cannot not ask you on the record, okay?
I'll get
once
him. We pick up where we left off, I'll bring it up to him.
Yes, thank you. Because he did give me a unofficial yes, just for the record, but it still has not materialized.
He's on. Look, as long as it makes sense, he's down. That's
This has been a constant for him. This is one of his dreams.
Definitely. And I've hit a few since doing these interviews, but he is definitely on what it called? Not bucket list, but he's one of them.
That's a cool cat, man.
YU is amazing, man. He's my no disrespect to Uptown, I love Odyssey too. Them dudes are phenomenal, the whole group. But YU, there's something about him that just hit me differently, and there's no way that I thought this would even be possible 2 years ago, even probable. So the fact that you brought his name up so many times in the interview, I'm like, I gotta ask her this before she leaves. So it ain't no promises, but I'm just asking you to promise me that you will put the bug in his ear and say, Nev from Powaful Impak really requires your presence before there's 12 more variants out here. Thank you. I'm done. I'm gonna say
after that, I can't,
I'll land my plane.
No promises, just
no promises. Just please promise me you'll try. That's all I ask.
I will do that.
This was dope. I appreciate it.
No doubt.
Thank you so much for coming on, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to put all of Lize's links in the description to her website, to her art. Please support her. I mean, you can't look at her paintings and not just be in awe. You can't listen to her as an MC and not be in awe. Please, please, please support her work. And make sure that you check her out, check out her website, keep up with what she's doing, because this lady is going to be doing big things for a long time.
And if you
thank you so much for being here.
And if you don't,
thank you so much for coming on Powaful Impak, Nev.
And if you don't, I'm gonna be DMing you unsolicited her music until you listen to it in her artwork. Boom!
Not unsolicited, y'all.
Any last words, Lize? She did not endorse that or promote that in any way, shape, or form. These are just my views on Powaful Impak, allegedly. Go, Lize. Anything last you want to say?
I'll just say shout out to Powaful Impak Podcast. This is Lize, and you have now been tuned in.
There you go. Thank you so much.
No internet bullying. Powaful Impak. Boom from the kids.
We'll see you on the flip side. Peace.
Peace.